Thank you. And yeah, thanks all for having me here today. So let's start our presentation today. And basically, we are talking about a journey. And as with any journey, we will start talking about the destination. Then we are going to talk about the journey itself. We are going to discuss some of the challenge that we are going to face in this journey. And then at the end, I will talk about some resource that you have available to help you in this journey. So first of all, whenever we are going somewhere, in every journey, we'll start thinking about our destination, so where we want to get to. So I will start by asking you a question. If we were talking about a personal journey, so what would be your destination? So where do you want to get to? And when answering me this question, you will be thinking about the things you value the most. So you'll be thinking about what success means to you. So in your personal life, in your personal journey, you need to think about the things that are more valuable to you. That these may be related to money, maybe related to fame, maybe related to happiness, health, work-life balance, longevity, family, legacy, spirituality, recognition, wisdom, charity, friends, fun. So I think that the most important point here is to have in mind that each and every person will have a different destination because we'll have different values, we'll value things differently, and for each of us, the destination will be slightly different, sometimes maybe similar, but each one will have a different priority regarding the different possibilities in terms of where to get to. And then now we'll be thinking about an organization. When we are working for organizations, I believe that most of you work for organizations or provide services to organizations. Organizations also have destinations. They will want to get somewhere. So, and I think that we need to start talking about the organization, this entity, because the organization is not a building. It's not a something tangible like just a building or something like this. An organization is made of a lot of people that actually have influence or own the organization. So it can be, for example, the owners of the organization, the shareholders of the organization, the general public. So these are the ones that will define the destination. So and they may also value things differently. Some of them will be focused on money, others will be focused on things like health and safety or peace and ethics. And it depends a lot on each person's values. And to make things even more complicated, the organization it is also made of employees and or volunteers that are actually doing the work to the other group of people. So basically, they will be the execution part of the organization. They will be responsible for doing things. And these ones will also have their own values that may be different or maybe the same as the values of the other groups of stakeholders. So as we discussed it before, this may be related to many different themes, and these all are going to influence the decision regarding the organization's destination. So when I ask you about the organization's destination, I would ask which of these things does the destination value does the organization value the most? So, and then this is going to help you answering the question, what does success mean to the organization? and reminding all of us that the organization is not just an entity. The organization is made of a group of people or many different groups of people. And well, as we discussed it before, the destination is directly related to value, to the things we value the most. And because all of us are in search of value, it can be regarding our personal lives, it can be regarding to our jobs, to our organization, to our own company if we are company owners. So well, we are all searching for value, and and the owners, the shareholders, the general public, they will have some purpose, some objectives that are related to generating, to finding value. And the employees and or volunteers, we also have their own purpose and objectives that are also related to creating value in some way, to finding value. So in the previous slide, I talked something about success, and being successful in anything in this life, in our personal life, in our working life, is related to reaching the destination. It can be in our personal journey or in our work journey, and these in the reaching the destination will be always related to creating value, to achieving value, and that's an important point. So in any journey, value is at the end. So now that we understand that our destination it's always related to value, now let's talk a little bit about the journey itself. So how to get there, how to get to the end of the journey. Well, how do we create value? How do we get to the end of our journey? How do we reach our objectives? Normally, we will have the organization today as it is. So now we are talking about specifically about generating value, creating value for the organization. We're going to, well, leave our personal journey aside for a while. So talking about the organization, we have the organization today, and we have the organization tomorrow. So what we want, because if we want to create value, so we are going to add value to the organization. That's mainly what we do in our jobs. We work to create value to the organization. So you see that in the slides you have a smaller organization today, and we have a bigger organization tomorrow, because we created value, we added value. And how do we create value? Basically, we create value by changing, by improving things. And these change, these improvements, they can be related to many different aspects depending on the goals we have in terms of what we value the most. So I gave some examples here on the screen. So it can be something related to sustainability, it can be something related to efficiency, it can be something related to growth. These are some very normal goals in terms of how we create value. But I think that, well, as we discussed before, there are many different areas where you can find opportunities to create value. And but basically, I think that what we need to have in mind is that we create value by changing and by improving things. And how to create value. So basically, how to identify the opportunities in terms of what we can change, what we can improve to create value. So the process, it's not simple, because in the organization normally we'll have the employees and volunteers doing the work, and and these people, I'm talking from directors to more senior level to C level, from the top layers of the organizational structure to the bottom of the organizational structure, and ideas can arise from all these people. Basically, the ideas can, in terms of how to create value, they can be identified both from a top-down or for a bottom-up perspective. So you can have both senior directors, C-level people generating ideas in terms of how they think the organization can create value, but you can also take a bottom-up approach. That's when the people on the ground, the employees actually doing the work, they will suggest ideas, they will identify opportunities. And it's important that you listen to all of them so that you can, have more opportunities in terms of identifying what can be done to create value. But an important thing to have in mind is that to implement an idea, every idea to be implemented will have a cost associated. So it's something that, well, even if it's not something that you are going to buy or you are going to hire serves or something, you may have like people working on something, and you're having a cost related to person hours and every kind of work, every kind of thing that's done, that when someone is doing just a job, it's a cost. It's a cost, and organizations will not have enough money to fund all the ideas that people may have. So it's important that you think, um, what's going to generate more value, because and what the ideas are the right ones, because the organization will have normally too many ideas and not enough money to implement all these ideas, to execute all these ideas. And another thing that we need to have in mind is the question: is any value better than no value? Because sometimes we may have ideas that are very dissociated to the organization overall strategy and goals and things, but they may generate value. So is the organization going to invest in an idea that's very dissociated to everything else that the organization does? So this is the type of questions that we need to have in mind when investing in creating value, because to create value, the organization will need to invest. So it's important to think that the organization need to focus on the creation of the right type of value rather than any value. And at this point, I will talk about how to select the right idea. So which are the right ideas that are going to provide the organization with the correct type of value? So we start from the organization being made of people that have like needs and wants. So every person will have needs and wants. And these needs and wants, basically the needs and wants of the organization. So in your department, for example, if you work in a department of an organization, you know what that department needs to deliver their work. You know what that department needs in terms in order to improve. But there are also things that you may want for that department. You know, you may want a better working environment. You may want like a more sophisticated office. You may want to have a more work trips. You know, you may want, there are a lot of things that people may want to do, you know, more funding for training, and but these are not necessarily needs of that department. And so based on the assessment of all these needs and wants, we'll be identifying what each of those changes will generate in terms of benefits. So, for example, if you refurbish your office, what's the benefit of refurbishing your office? If you implement a new IT system, so what's the benefits that you are going to achieve from implementing that new IT system? So the benefit that's believed or expected at this point in time, it should be something good and beneficial. to the organization. It will generate a sense of improvement in some way. So basically, you are saying that, well, if you meet those needs and wants, so what's the benefit? So what what's the something good and beneficial that's going to be delivered, to be achieved? So what's going to be the sense of improvement that people will have? And this is going to be the benefit. But as I said before, every change will have costs associated. And again, at the beginning, at this point in time, when you're thinking about what to do, the costs will be also believed and expected. So we will not have firm costs. It's not actual costs. We're talking about how much we think that things are going to cost. And these costs may be related to, for example, work time. So basically, well, hiring people, hiring service. It may be related to equipment. It may be related to materials. And all these will generate costs. And in order to determine the value, you need to outweigh the costs against the benefits. So you need to compare benefits against costs, and that's going to tell you whether the benefits are worth the costs. And this is going to give you a financial perspective of the feasibility of the investment, whether we actually should invest. But as I said before, the value is not just related to money. There are many, many other perspectives. There are many, many other possibilities in terms of what people will value. Because at the end of the day, what what value is, it's about making someone happy. And that's why you see that smile face on the slides, because you're generating money. You are normally making the owners of the organization happy. You are making shareholders happy. But as we saw before, the organization is not only led or owned or influenced by people that will have that financial focus. It You may be talking about a charity, you may be talking about um, public sector organization, and in this case, you, value may be also related to the views of the general public. You know, it may be related to, for example, health. It may be related to security. It may be related to many other aspects that are about like making the population live better, the population live well and be happy. So money at the end may not be the only meaning for value, and that's something very important we need to have in mind. Obviously, the projects they need to be funded in some way, but not necessarily the financial objective. It's what's going to determine that the project, one project is more valuable than the other. And this analysis that we just discussed here, is normally called business case. So for each idea in terms of how we can generate value, we can create a business case to tell us what's the cost benefits analysis related to that idea and what kind of value that idea it's going to create for the organization. So moving on, let's talk a little bit about strategy. Because, well, we talked about ideas, we talked about understanding the ideas, producing a business case, but it's important to have in mind that, well, we will have, well, as we discussed before, lots of ideas. And I will ask you the question, would any set of ideas suffice? And do we need a wider plan? Because if we have lots of ideas that are not connected, that are disjointed, um, we may not achieve the expected results, the desired results at the end. And so, as I said before, we have the employees and volunteers working on delivering these ideas, on implementing these ideas, on making them real. And to do so, we'll have lots of initiatives that we can call projects, we can call programs, we can call portfolios, we can call just tasks, and each of them will be delivering benefits, as we discussed in the previous slides. So they will be enabling the organization to realize benefits. And these benefits should be connected one to each other in order to take the organization from today to the future that we aim, we desire, we expect, and then achieve the creation of value that we're planning, that we're expecting, and delivering that value to the owner, to the shareholders, to the general public, and other stakeholders. So this connection between the benefits in order to go from today to the future that we desire, that we plan, we will need to follow a strategy. That the strategy is the route map that will take us there. It will take us from where we are now to the destination we want to get to. And and in this scenario, we're going to now talk about like the benefits realization management process, because the journey it's about managing benefits realizations, managing this process, managing this journey in order to realize benefits. So and these answers this question, these two questions that you see on the screen. So how can we execute each idea? So how to ensure benefits are realized? So we start from, as we said in the previous slide, we start from people having needs and wants, from departments having needs and wants, from teams having needs and wants. And these needs and wants will generate demands because, well, people need something, the organization needs something, the organization, people want something. This will generate a demand that can be met by having projects delivering something, because projects are known as the best way to manage change. And then basically, well, as I said before, to achieve benefits, we need normally to change, to improve, and then we're going to manage the change by using project management. And the projects normally produce outputs. So the projects deliver stuff, deliver results, deliver outputs. And these outputs, that they can be like um, pieces of equipment, they can be new buildings, they can be events, they can be IT systems, they can be many different things that will enable change. Because the output, it by itself, it doesn't change much, but normally these outputs, they will enable change. They will enable people to do things differently. They will enable the organization to operate differently. And this change will generate outcomes. So the outcomes are the results of the change. It's about how tomorrow will be different from today. So what tomorrow is going to be different from today. And and these outcomes will enable the organization to realize benefits. So the benefits are, well, basically, well, the difference from today to, sorry, from tomorrow to today in terms of the improvement achieved. So the benefits are the improvement achieved if you compare the future against the present. And these benefits are going to create value to the organization. And as I said previously, this value can be financial value or can be non-financial value, because at the end of the day, what we want is to make people happy. So things that are valuable are things that will make someone or groups of people happy. And then, in summary, we manage this journey by applying project management and benefits realization management, because it's not only about delivering project results, it's about managing the entire journey from gathering these needs and wants and ideas till we get to the end of the process and create value. And benefits realization management, it's about managing the entire journey. Well, we talked about the destination, we talked about the journey, but now it's important we talk about the challenge, because as you may expect, This is not an easy journey. This is not a simple journey about like how to go from home to the supermarket. This is a complicated, a very complex journey. And these challenges, well, there are too many challenges, but I will focus on some of the key challenges that will affect this process. And they are normally mainly related to process, tools, people, and culture. And these should answer the question, why is it difficult to create strategic value through projects? First of all, I will ask you a question. Which method and technique are you going to use to manage the project, to manage your projects? And on your screen now, you can see a few project management methodologies that are available nowadays in the market. So when I say a few, actually you can see several different options of methodologies. And this is something that makes project delivery very complicated because, well, if I ask you if you're qualified, if you are certified in all of these methodologies, you're probably going to tell me that you're not. I'm not. I'm not. I know about all of them, but I'm not specialist in all of them. I'm not even qualified in all of them. I'm qualified in some of them. And if I ask one of you, if I pick any of you randomly, and I ask this question about which technique you can use, you're going probably to talk to me about like two or three or five techniques. And but each of us may be specialized in different techniques. And then when you put people together to deliver projects, we need to make sure that they can be working as a team, they can work together. And then we go to the next question, to the next challenge, because is your team capable of delivering the task? Because firstly, you need to select the technique that you are going to use, the technique that's going to be the method that's going to be more appropriate to deliver that specific change, that specific project. But then, after selecting the method and the technique, or the technique, you need to identify if your team is capable of delivering the task. So you may say that, oh, okay, this project is going to apply to use Prince2 Agile, but is your team qualified to apply Prince2 Agile to that project or not? So do you need to well train them? Do you need to would they need to have previous experience in using that method? And and this is something that's very important. And not only talking about the methods, but also talking about many other competence that will be needed to deliver the project, because you need to have in mind that each project will have a different scope, each project will involve different areas of knowledge, will demand different skill sets. So your team will need to be qualified to deliver the task, need to be capable of delivering the task. So first point, understanding what technique will be the most appropriate to deliver that task. And the second one is about identifying if your team will be capable of delivering the task. And the third challenge, it's about the organization, it's about the culture, is about answering the question, does your team have a strategic and value oriented mindset? Because as we said before, journeys are about reaching the objective, reaching the destination. So if the destination is clear to everyone, well, everybody know how to get there. So they will just need to sort out how to get there. But normally organizations will have lots of different objectives, and people working in an organization will also have their own objectives. And these can create a lot of confusion because this mix of objectives may make it difficult for people to see the end goal of the organization. So what's the actual destination they need to get to? And depending on how things are communicated within the organization, and depending on how objectives are shared among the workforce, people even may even not see the end goal of the organization, may not know. So, and this is something that, well, you may find like, oh no, this is impossible. But I've seen cases where you ask the staff of the organization, the teams, what the goals of the organizations are, and people are not able to answer. So they don't know what's the goal of the organization. This makes things very difficult. And if you go down to a program level or to a project level, you can see this same issue happening. So you may go to a program team meeting and ask people what the objectives of that program are, and you may be surprised by hearing people saying different things, or maybe saying that they don't know what the objectives of the program are. And if you don't know where to get to, well, any route we'll take will be fine. And this is from Alice in Wonderland, the book. So if you don't know where you want to get to, if you don't know your destination, any route you take will be fine because, well, you don't know where you want to get to. So so again, focusing on objectives. It's important to have it clear to everyone what the end goal is, what the objective is, what the destination is. Then we will be thinking about how to get there, what kind of methods, what kind of techniques you will need to take you with success from where you are now to the destination. And you need to think about the people involved, the team, if they're capable of doing that, if they're capable of of um, of taking the journey and getting to the destination. If you miss any of these aspects, then it will be very difficult for you to get to, well, the desired destination. You can get somewhere. You will always arrive somewhere, but it may be that you are going to get to a place that's not the place you wanted to be. And obviously, I'm not going only to talk to you about the challenge. I will brief you on some ways to overcome the challenge we discussed. So, first of all, it's important to have goals and strategy. I'm not talking only about organizational goals. I'm not going to talk about just high level goals. I'm going to talk about like program goals. You're going to talk about project goals. So you need to have it clearly defined and communicated. What's the objective of each task, of each work package? What do you want to achieve with the project? How are these objectives connected so that people understand the journey? So if you understand the journey, it's much easier for you to arrive to get to the destination. So it's like when you're driving a car, you know, if you are driving and someone on your side, on the passenger seat, is just telling you, oh, turn left, turn right, turn left, go ahead, and is it something that motivates you? Is something that make you feel comfortable? Probably not, I would say. So it's much better when you know where you want, where you're going to get to, so that you can maybe even like think yourself, oh, there may be another route that will work better, or you may have a suggestion, or you may find other ways to add more value, or at least you know that after turning right, you are going to turn left. But if you don't know where you want to get to, it's very difficult for you to be engaged with the journey. So so the goals are very important, in the strategy in terms of how to get there are very important. And these are supported by processes and tools. So as we discussed it before, we may have things like project management methodologies, project management techniques, but we may have also technical processes and tools depending on the type of project you are managing. Things like construction, like technology and other types of projects, they will require some more technical specific tools and process to help you managing the project. And one important tool that I highlight here is the business case. So this is extremely important. This is something that applies to all kinds of projects. As I said before, every time you have an idea, well, I recommend you to produce a business case before starting doing any work. And moving on, you will need to have ownership. So people have an idea, and someone will need to buy into that idea. Someone will need to own that idea. Someone will need to sponsor that idea. So every project will need to have an owner. Every idea will need to have an owner. So because this is very important that it can be one person, it can be a committee, it can be a parent organization, but there must be ownership. So someone or a group of people will need to be sponsoring that idea. And also in terms of how to deliver the work, you need to have roles and responsibilities very well defined, because you have a plan, you have a strategy, you have goals, so you know what people will need to do in order to get to the end, in order to achieve the objective, the destination. And then you create roles, so you know what kind of job each person will need to do. And this is going to tell you, we go then to the next box. Based on the roles and the responsibilities, you will know what kind of competency will be needed to deliver the work. And this is going to enable you to hire the correct resource, to allocate the correct resource with the correct competence that will allow you to deliver the work needed to reach the destination. And finally, culture, it's very important because, as I said before, um, each person will have different values, and the values are going to influence what people want, what the people need, and that's why it's very important to have a team that's aligned to the organizational culture, because well, giving you a very um, um, hypothetical example, but it would be difficult to have someone who is a pacifist working, for example, as a military, in like doing war, things like this. So it would be hard to ask a pacifist to go to war, and that's why it's important that you ensure that the people involved in the project will have a similar culture, will be able to work together well, and so that well they can work as a team and then deliver the work. So if you work, for example, in an organization that it's oriented to um, um, financial results, so, for example, an investment bank or something like this, and then you have people working there that they value other things like religion, the health or safety or things like this. Again, you may find issues, and that's why it's important to balance out what kind of values you need to have in your organization in terms of culture. So you need to have people aligned in terms of how to achieve the goal and making sure that the personal values are not going to be clashing with the organizational values. And finally, let's talk a little bit about some of the resources that you can have available to help you in this journey. So if you visit my website, the www.thebrmacademy.com, you can find a few materials that you can download, like articles, case studies, research reports, and you find some e-learning as well. You have some e-learning course that are free for you to attend, and you'll get a certificate at the end. And also, you have links. In this case, it won't be free, but you have links to buy some of my books, and you can see two of them on my screen. So the first one, Benefits Realization Management, Strategic Value from Portfolios, Programs, and Projects. This is a very comprehensive book, and it's a more academic book that, well, describes all the um, the theory behind benefits realization management. This book is listed as one of the reference for the PMI benefits realization management guidance. And I, I haven't said before, but I was one of the subject matter reviewers of the PMI benefits realization management guidance, and there are a few of my articles as well as reference for that guidance. And the second book, it's more practitioner oriented. This benefits realization management for PMO practitioners. So there you can find more like easy to apply techniques. It's more focused on PMO practitioners in terms of how to improve your PMO to apply benefits realization management and what your PMO can do and how to apply benefits realization management. So now we got to the end of the presentation. I hope you found it helpful and useful and that it enable you to create some value to yourself in your personal life or to your organization and to reach your goals, reach your destination.
Carlos, we thank you so much for your time and for presenting with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.